it's a little bit like, let's say I drink a glass of wine. Okay, I can explain to you, I can tell you what it tastes like, I can say whatever. You're not going to really have a true understanding until I give you a glass of wine and then you sip it. And okay, so that's what I'm living, but I can talk and I can use words, I can describe, okay, so you try to understand, but really, do you? Not really, right? You have to live that experience. So it's when you're saying, whenever you're saying about, hey, you're beyond your mind, you're beyond your body or whatever, yeah, okay. I hear that. You understand what the analogy I'm trying to make, in the sense that, as long as you haven't experienced something, yeah, okay, you hear the words, you hear the person describe it, but you really don't know what he's talking about.
Exactly.
Right?
So what I'm saying, it should just be seen as a hypothesis,
Mm-hmm.
and nothing else except a hypothesis. To me also, this has to also be approached in a scientific way. The reason why modern science has been very successful in its findings is because exactly it has taken certain safety measures to make sure that what is science doesn't degenerate into superstition. Otherwise, anybody comes up with some crackpot theory and he can claim it's the truth. That's the reason why science has been so successful. That if you have a certain hypothesis, first you need to experiment with it,
You need to validate it.
observe, come to the findings of these experiments, and even after you come to the findings of these experiments, those findings have to be repeated again and again, and not just repeated, it has to be peer reviewed. Only then will it be accepted as valid science. I'm saying in exactly the same way, the East had the same approach, where through a process of experimentation, here, rather than the laboratory being an outer laboratory, here the laboratory is your own being. Rather than experimenting on something outwardly, here the experiment is of your own being. And the findings that you discover while turning inwards, these can be repeated again and again and again. That's why amongst yogis and Buddhas in the East, the moment somebody comes to he discovers the method towards coming to his realization, he can make it accessible to others. Because this is a scientific process in exactly the same way as our modern science has this scientific attitude. You read about it in textbooks that the attitude of the scientific method is something new or something unique or original. It's not really so. In the East, for centuries, we've had that approach. Just the only difference is we've had that approach with exploring the inner dimension. And we've always understood that the source which functions within you and the source which functions throughout the whole existence are the same. They're not different. The same laws of nature which function everywhere in the universe also function within your own being. So you can come to know that, not intellectually, but experientially, by deepening your awareness. For example, right now, what you know about life, it's just how expanded your perception is. The more limited your perception is the more limited your experience of life becomes. So for example, let's say there's an elephant standing in front of me. He's standing in front of me, but I'm still standing with closed eyes. He may be there, but unless I expand my perception, it remains out of my experience. So the whole process of yoga is just this, to expand your perception, to include levels of reality, levels of existence, which are right now not in our experience. When you go to sleep, the boundaries of your perception become smaller and smaller and smaller. Eventually the outside world disappears. Everything disappears, even you disappear. When you're in that deep sleep, dreamless sleep, the universe no longer exists for you because the boundaries of your perception have contracted. So this is like it's a bit elastic. It's like a rubber band. It can be stretched, it can be contracted.